And we're live. 1 minute early, but I couldn't wait anymore because I am stoked to do this one. And I was looking forward to do this one for such a long time because today I'm not going to give my empathy only to people who are in limerence, but also to their partners. And I have a lot of clients who don't know what to do when they suspect that their partner is in limerence. Hi Trey, hi Jill, glad to see you here. I first have a question. My first question, and please put the questions in cap. And I have my notes. I also have two letters from some people who have a limerent partner, and they ask me what to do. And I will tell you what to do. I'll give you a plan. First, I have a question. Um, does listing out all negative things about a low help with limerence? Well, that depends, Jesse, what you call help. Of course, being realistic is always better than being unrealistic. And knowing that this is limerence, knowing that your LO is not probably your soulmate and the best person in the world, they're human, they have flaws, and in the long run, you probably see their flaws more, is always better than being unrealistic and thinking that this is your soulmate. But listing all their flaws will not make you less longing for them. It doesn't really work on the feeling state, but it does help you in choosing the wise thing when you are being realistic. Having said that, today we're talking about the victims of limerence and not the limerence self. And I'm reading from my notes, by the way, that's why you see me looking down. And of course, all the limerence are welcome because you can learn and pick up some things from this. It's also handy for you. But I'm going to talk about what to do if you have a partner whom is in limerence. And if that's you, please say something in the comments so I know that you're there and I'm not talking to just, in space. First of all, you have my biggest empathy because this is really tough. Not only for the person who is in limerence, but also for you. It's super painful. And I've seen devastating things. I've seen marriages who fell apart from one day to another. I've seen families being ripped apart, spouses who left, divorces, regrets. Some people just had a baby a few months, and their partner was gone. They started to live with somebody else across country. I've seen really, really bad things and also really unexpected things if your partner suddenly wants to leave. How do you know that limerence is at play here? And I've summed up some of the symptoms that indicates that your partner is in limerence. And I will get further into them after I sum them up. You're here. I'm happy. Hi, Jim. Hi. Okay, first of all, first symptom, your partner wants to be with somebody else. It's the giveaway. Second, your partner thinks highly of them. And even though you can see clearly that this is not compatible and this is a complete mismatch, they cannot. You can see that this partner is, you asking why this person. You see that this person is not all that. You see the mismatches and the fact that they don't fit, but they don't see that. Your partner, number three, your partner talked a lot and maybe still talks a lot about this person and maybe saying, oh, but we're just friends. But they talk a lot about this person. Another one, your partner rewrites history. They value you and their life with you. They might bring up things that you have done wrong decades ago or state that they were never really happy. And this actually has a name. It's called crystallization. They're looking through a little hole and they're evaluating the relationship subconsciously in order to make space and make it more reasonable and give their self justification to go along with the limerence and this other person. Hi, Dempsey. What's the difference between falling in love with somebody new and being limerent? People are getting divorced and remarried and lost. Absolutely, absolutely. I'll get into that because there is a big difference. Because limerence doesn't happen when there's a secure bond and it's a perfect fit and there are no obstacles. Then you don't get limerent. Limerent feeds off the obstacles. I will answer your question in a while. Okay, we're talking about crystallization. Another one. There's an unrealistic rush and pace and haste to be with the other. It must be done as soon as possible. Another one. The more you try to reason with them, the more they distance themselves. You explaining that this is a mistake, this is an illusion, it will not help, it will only get them deeper into the quicksand. My husband left me and we're now divorced. Will he come back? I'll answer that question in a while. I promise. I'll answer all your questions. Another one. First, I'm going to finish the symptoms. They seem addicted to this person and they have severe mood swings from crying a lot to all of a sudden being very happy and energetic. Another one. They have less headspace, patience, and empathy towards you and the family. Some people ignore or kind of neglect their children. For example, they don't have the headspace, they don't have the time, they're somewhere else, they're in La La Land, and they rather, sit alone and think about their alone than, playing a game with the kids or taking them out or having a nice talk or having a romantic evening with you. Another one, which can be a sign that your partner is in limerence. You are puzzled. You don't understand this. That doesn't make sense. You don't recognize your partner. You don't understand their actions. Like, they've always been really nice fathers, and all of a sudden, they want to leave their kids from one day to another, for example, or move cross country, give up their beloved job, etc. Now, of course, marriage and relationship sometimes ends. That's life. But when you are stunned by the coldness and the bizarre rush, for example, you were married for 20 years and they just known this person for 8 weeks and they decide to move in with them. I mean, that's a bizarre pace. That doesn't make sense. So if you see them make irrational decisions and don't make decisions very carefully and very respectfully, then there might be limerence, because people in limerence are not very they don't use their adult mind. They're driven by hormones. So if you have to say yes on most of these symptoms, there's a big chance that your partner is in limerence. Now, what's the big difference between love and limerence? I mean, people, like I said, leave their marriage for someone else, and sometimes that's love. So what's the difference? Well, the unrealisticness of the bonds. The fact that your partner is in limerence means that there is not a safe bond and there are obstacles. And probably even more obstacles than just the fact that they were in a relationship with you. Most of the time, this can and will not work out, and that will create the limerence. Unfortunately, the limerent person is so addicted that they don't see this or they don't want to see this. And everything that is in the way of their limerent object, meaning the other person, has to move. There is only one thing and one thing important, and that is being with the other person. I'm going to answer your biggest question. And if you have questions, specific questions for me, please put them in caps, because I will all answer them And I have a community here. If you have any benefit from my videos, consider supporting me because we need to create awareness. And I have a community on YouTube where I shower you with extras, and you can also support me and my quests and my mission in life. Okay, to answer very quickly your biggest questions, I collected them. Your relationship was probably not as bad as they seem to think now, and they will tell you. Another one. No, you can't reason them out of limerence. Getting angry and for being limerent will not help, even though, I understand. Yes, you can set your boundaries if they cross the boundaries. For example, going too low whenever they want, and then they come back, and then they go again, and then they're gone, and then they want to be with you, and then they want to be with them. You can set your boundaries, absolutely. Yes, you can tell them about limerence because creating awareness is always a good idea. And no, they will not, probably not accept this because they want to think that this is real love. But if they start to mentalize this after a while and they start to feel a little bit bad, they might start to think like, what was the word again that my partner used? Limerence. Let me look up, let me Google that. And then they're probably like, I tick all the boxes. Maybe they're right. So hopefully they will mentalize this, meaning that they will start to and think about this on their own without you pushing this on them. But you can mention the word limerence, absolutely. No, they're probably not sad that your relationship is over. Yes, they will be sad one day when there is time and space for the grief. They're not grieving now. When they're so pumped up, full of dopamine and hormones, they don't have the space to grieve. That's not conscious, that's subconscious. They don't just, they cannot. But grief is a very patient waiter. Grief always comes out. So no, they're not sad now, but probably yes, they will grieve one day. Okay. What to do? And I know you're all waiting for this. What to do when your partner is in limerence? How can you save the relationship? Well, I have two different strategies for two different situations. One is when your partner wants to stay. This is involuntary for them. They don't want to be in limerence. They are suffering though. They can be desperate and they know, but they know they never will be with the other person. And they say, I still love you, I want to be with you. Then you approach this with a lot of compassion. And I know that's very difficult. Talk about the limerence. Give support, yet boundaries. Doesn't mean you have to approve without anything. Please keep your boundaries, but support them when they go through no contact and when they go through the withdrawal, which is very hard for you because I cannot even imagine, my partner crying all day and feeling depressed over somebody else, and I have to sit next to that on the couch. That's horrible. That's horrific. But if you can bear this, and that you absolutely want to save your marriage, then you have no other option than to stick it out and be very, very patient. And hopefully, after they went no contact and they're coming out of the fog after a while, they will come down, and you two can see if you need to work on the marriage, if there's still enough trust, what happened here, and if there's work that needs to be done. Because the beginning of a limerent episode is often a mirror. It can indicate that there was unfulfillment or neglect or neglected trauma or unsatisfaction in some area of their lives, and maybe also in the relationship. Fenna, you're answering my questions. Are you psychic? Some people think I am because I can pretty much predict the outcome of something, and then they get back to me and they say, "Fenna, everything you predicted was you were absolutely right." But this is my work, of course. This is my work. What's the difference between falling in love with someone and beginning of limerence? People's getting for yes, I already kind of answered that. Limerence feeds off obstacles, so and it becomes addictive, and then it becomes unrealistic. So the unrealisticness and is the difference between a normal falling in love and a limerent love. It doesn't make sense, and you can see that, but they can't. Now, my second advice is for people whose partner is not staying. They're expressing that they want to go, who is choosing LO over you, who is distancing themselves. They're creating distance. Instead of, staying, they're taking steps to distance themselves. They devalue you and they're making steps to move out or end the relationship. You will have to let them go. You will have to let them go. Hear me out. You getting upset and angry will not help. And of course, you are allowed to feel your feelings and have your emotions. I mean, this is upsetting. And of course, you can express your emotion, but it will not make them stay. They have to want to stay. And they want to, what gives you the biggest chance in for them to come back one day, if you still want that, by the way, because maybe the damage by then is already done. But if you want the biggest chance of them to come back, is when you express that this is not your choice. You want to get out, you're in love with somebody else. I'm not, I'm still here, I want to make this work, but I can't hold you back. And then you let them go and you withdraw yourself. You take yourself out of this situation. That means that you cannot be their buddy. That means you cannot be their go-to person when they moved in with a low, but they have a fight with a low, or deterioration is setting in with a low, and they come back to you, and then they go back to a low, and they want to cry about a low to you. No, 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 no. You're not going to do that. They made a mess. They have to deal with that. Moving out, giving up on a marriage has consequences. So be careful with being their buddy when you hope that this will make them stay. If they express that they want to go, let them go. That, and I know that's hard. I'm not saying this lightly, but that will give you the biggest chance to have them miss you and think about this and grieve and hopefully come back. But they can't have their cake and eat it too. This is the consequences of their decision. They made a mess and they deal with that. And of course, I cannot guarantee you that they will come back within a year, and maybe the damage is already done. And and you have to take care of yourself in any case, and that's the best thing you can do. You have to take care of yourself, no matter what strategy you're going to or what approach you're going to take. This happened to you, and like I said at the beginning, you have my biggest empathy because you're a victim here. Like I said, the biggest chance when they're removing themselves is you also remove yourself, because they cannot miss you when you're there. They have to miss you. And when deterioration sets in after a while, because the relationship with the new shiny LO is not all that, they will probably start to think on how it was. But I cannot put a timeline on that. People always ask me, when will she or he come back? I don't know. That depends on so many factors. They say that if you remove all the obstacles, the first stages of the being in love stage doesn't last longer than 3 years. And of course, if you have children, it's not possible to vanish out of their life. So that's also a complication. And I cannot predict when deterioration sets in, most likely between a few months and 3 years, and sometimes never. And again, I'm so sorry if this happened to you. And I wish I could give you more positive news, but the best thing you can do in any case is to move on and grieve that this happened to you and it's painful. And I hope you don't stretch your boundaries too much. I'm hoping you don't stretch your boundaries, just because you want to make them stay. And I know that some people say, yeah, but Fenna, if I stay friends with them, at least I keep them close and I show them that I'm really, I'm still here for them and I'm kind and I'm reliable. And yes, that's all true, but that's not how attraction works in general. Of course, that's all true, but it's not how attraction works. They have to miss you, and they can't miss you when you are there. But you can express before you concentrate on yourself and, go to the background and vanish. You say, okay, this is not my choice. If you change your mind, you know where to find me, and we need to have a good talk then. But I'm not going to stand here and wait for you while you're moving in with your limerent object. They need time and space and distance. And like I keep repeating, that's no guarantee that they will come back, but it will give you the biggest chance. And you should focus on yourself and your well being. And you're in such bad luck that this happened. And people ask me, did I do something wrong? Is this my fault? No, it's not your fault. You're in bad luck. And of course, I don't know if your marriage was good before the limerence of your partner be gone. I don't know, but this is not your fault. This is a complex situation, and you're a victim here. And I really hope that you can focus on yourself and at least try to move on. If you have any questions before I go to my letters, please ask them. It sounded very demanding. You have to ask them. And if you do, please put them in caps so I can answer them. Also share your story. I know that people who think that their partner is in limerence, they're craving for information from other people who think that their partner is in limerence. They want to read about this. They want to know about this. They want to know that they're not the only ones. So please share something in the comments so other people who are the victim in this can also read this and feel less alone. I have a letter. I've recently ended I changed a little bit of the details to, I don't know, be more subtle and protect people who are involved. I recently ended a 5-year long relationship with my girlfriend because she became obsessed with somebody else. It was a gay man who is also in a committed relationship with another man. It got up to a point where he was intruding in our lives and I could not take it anymore. There was also a big age gap. Yeah, there's some mismatches both in a relationship. One is gay, one is not, and a big age gap. Those are already 4 mismatches. She would keep telling me that I have nothing to worry about because since he is gay. But then she lost all interest in sex with me and she blamed it, the lack of interest in the menopause, which is true but also very convenient. Yeah, people who are in limerence are most likely not very interested in having sex with their spouse. They're just too focused and they're too attracted to the limerent object to have sexual headspace for their current partner. I told her, since we're not being intimate and you're not being intimate with either of us, what's the difference if he is gay or not? You're obviously in love with him. She would never stop talking about him, including telling me how nice he smelled. Oh, that's too much details. When she hugged him, how he could solve anything. He was always interested and he had such knowledge. And she talked about him if he was the most special person on the planet. And all I saw was an alcoholic, chain smoker, loser who would start drinking in our lawn at 10 a.m. and continued all day. And he brought different friends within in our house to party with him. Okay, here you see that your partner put this person on a pedestal. And I know you asked her, please don't only talk about this person. Yeah, it's painful. Even though he's gay, I don't care. I don't want you to talk about somebody else all day. And she couldn't. She couldn't stop talking about him. So you see that there is, and that there's something weird going on here. Even though you asked her to stop talking about her, she couldn't. And telling you how amazing he smelled. I mean, that's a little bit weird. And you also see that this was, she was in awe with this person, and you didn't understand it. I tried to be friendly with him just to make it work, but he had no interest in my friendship. And the fact, when they got together, I became invisible in my own house, and my girlfriend, who was always acted properly, would begin insult me and act disrespectfully, to lift herself up in front of him. Yeah, that's devaluation, what I was talking about. They don't really see how amazing you are anymore because they're so blinded by the new shining new limerent object. If he would call and I was if he would call and I was on the phone, she'd hang up on me and forgot to call me back. Yeah, because there's only headspace for this person. Her priority was with him, not with you. My loving partner became a totally different person when he was around, like she was possessed. Yeah, you can call it possessed, you can also call it addicted. The last straw was when she made up an excuse to travel to his city to spend the night with him, and I caught her lying for the second time. When I confronted her, she said I was being selfish because he was just gay. Yeah, there's my cat coming. This is a thing now that whenever I sit here for a live show, he wants to be on my laptop. So if you start to hear falling things apart, it's my cat. My ex had extreme trauma as a child, and so did I. Yeah, not every person who experiences limerence has trauma. Sometimes it's converted trauma, means that there's unhealed grief in your family history, maybe from your parents or their parents. Sometimes it's also because there was unfulfillment or a big life event happened approximately 2 years before the beginning of a limerent episode. I'm trying to figure out if she is having a limerence episode, an emotional affair, or if this was something else. Well, we can call this limerence because even when you asked her not to do this and be a little bit more respectful, she couldn't. And not all limerence is erotic, by the way. I know people who are obsessed with other people, and there's non romantic or a non erotic component to it. It's been over for 3.5 months now, and I have no contact, which is fine by me. I find myself going through fits of extreme anger. Um, I'm working on myself, though. I'm making new friends. I'm trying to find myself again, very important, because I have lost so much myself during the relationship. Yeah, of course, you tried to accept this. You try to see this from her angle. You try to probably soothe yourself saying, okay, maybe I am a little bit paranoid here. Maybe they are just friends. And maybe, I should not worry that much if your partner is telling you that, they're just friends. But okay, you notice that there was something weird going on here. I know this person wants to know. And please put it in the comments after the live chat if you watch this after the live chat. Are there any persons out there whose partner became limerent for a gay person while they're straight? If this happened to you, please leave a comment because I'm also very interested in this, and so is he. Now, You can psychoanalyze this, and the bigger question is, of course, or the bigger issue was, you weren't happy. You weren't happy. So it doesn't really matter if it's gay or straight, or if it's limerence or trauma bond, or what name you give this. You were not happy in this situation, so you decide to walk away. You tried it for a long time. This didn't work for you, and you weren't happy, and you walked away. Now I remember I could psychoanalyze my LO to death, and put different diagnoses on him, and try to understand him, why he did what he did, and why he needed all this space, and why I tried to understand it, but it didn't change my needs. And I always say this, that doesn't change your needs. If you're unhappy, that's all the information that you need to know. When you're not happy, you can make the decision to walk away. How long does it last take to heal from betrayal? Oh, good question. And of course, I don't know. I don't know. It depends. It depends. On every situation is so different, and some people have anger for a long period of time. Some people have it for a shorter period of time. But anger, there he is. Anger is a normal phase of grief, and especially when there was betrayal. I've seen people so incredibly angry. Most people would get out of the anger um, within a year, kind of. It doesn't mean that they're completely not angry anymore, but the anger calms down a little bit. But the consequences of the betrayal, of course, can be long lasting, way after the anger calms down. Is there a relation between people with avoidant attachment style and those that experience limerence? Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Um, we tend to become uh, limerent for people with an avoidant attachment style because we have limited access to them. They give us limited access. They're most of the time they're unpredictable. They don't make you feel secure, and this has all the ingredients for a limerent episode. Now, I've also seen people who have an avoiding attachment style, and they become limerents because they go with the wow. They pick someone who's unavailable first place, which is very safe, so they can continue not to be intimate with somebody subconsciously. So they pick someone who's unavailable. They let their hormones run everything. But they cannot make the transition into a happy, healthy, secure relationship. So, yes, most of the time there is one of the two of the people who are in this limerent dynamic has an avoidant attachment style. And of course, being anxious and avoidant are basically the same thing. They're just on the same line on the other side. It's both having abandonment issues and having attachment wounds. I have another letter. Hello, Penna. I've been watching your videos about limerence. I'm married and my wife seems to have a limerent affair. It seems to be on the honeymoon period. Yeah, that means that they're still completely in love and have this person on a pedestal, and they're still riding the magic carpet of limerence. That means that they still have the nice effect of the hormones instead of the bad effects of the hormones that will come later, because limerence is not a stable state. She didn't tell me explicitly, but she's not hiding it also. She can message him beside me at night and talk to him on the phone, even when I'm around. Ooh, that's not very respectful. In summer, we went on holiday and we got an argument, and she said most of the things that you mention in your videos. She was talking about separation, saying that we had a good time, but not good enough, and we need to move on. And she even said that she wants to look around. Okay, there should be consequences on these sentences. You cannot say this, which means that you're taking your distance and not have consequences. But okay, I'll get into that after. About a week after, she went for surgery, and I took care of her. And that, but it seems that the power of the limerence is so strong. It is, and now she could not. And she is acting so cold to me, and she doesn't show her affection, her empathy, and her love for me anymore. No, that's because you don't really exist for them. And I know that's cruel to say, and it doesn't mean they don't mean this in a cruel way, but there's just not enough headspace for two people. It's been almost 2 months, and we had a discussion, and I didn't have a good night's sleep then. Yeah, I know, this is keeping us awake. I love her, and I dearly love her, and I really want to save our marriage, but I don't know how long I can take this. How I understand, there's a limit to this, of course. You cannot do this for years. For now, the only thing I can do is work on myself and improve physically, emotionally, intellectually, and spiritually. Absolutely. There are days where I have breakdowns, I understand. And yesterday she went out with her LO again, and it crushed me that she can pretend that nothing happened and she looks so happy. She doesn't seem to feel guilty at all. No, people who are in limerence lack empathy, but also they lack guilt and they lack some consciousness because they don't really feel the guilt. They just feel great, at least in the beginning, not after a while. I will continue to cope as best as I can and will continue to watch your videos. Thank you. And who knows, once she wakes up and maybe she will be open to talk and she will be coached by you. Well, that would be great. Okay, I'm gonna share my answer. And although I like your soft approach instead of getting all harsh and angry, because remember that she did not choose to become addicted, and she's probably not even aware of it that she's addicted. Did you mention limerence to her? Don't force it, just mention it. Few times, one time, few times. After a while, when they start to not feel so great anymore and they have the bad symptoms, they will Google it. So although I like your soft approach, instead of getting all angry, and you're easy on her, but you're easy on her on your own expense. This costs your own expense. There's not enough boundaries here. It's not okay when she's lying next to you in bed and she's talking to him when she knows that this person is upsetting you. That's not okay. It's not okay that she goes out with him and she comes back to you when I I assume you have talks about this and you're super worried about the relationship and you don't want this person around. Um, yeah, I asked you, have you mentioned limerence? And she will not accept that, because she doesn't want to hear that this is based on an illusion and this is not sustainable and this is just an addiction and this person is not that great and they're actually not compatible instead of being the biggest match in the world. But if she will start to feel bad, she will probably Google what's limerence and see that she ticks all the boxes. So you can tell your partner who's in limerence, hey, maybe you want to have a look at the term limerence. Okay. Hello, hi Roy. I've been standing for 8 months now. She did break up with her alone for a. Oh, I can't read it. But rushed back to him 2 months ago. Yeah, limerence is so powerful, and that's why you cannot really put a timeline on this. I wish I could. I wish I could say, okay, this is your situation. They're gonna break up in 6 months, and then they're gonna come back to you. I don't know, and that's why I always tell you, please take care of yourself. It's the most important thing, and I am so sorry that this happened to you. If you want my help in one-on-one coaching, don't hesitate to contact me, please. And for now, I hope that I answered some questions of you, and I'll do more videos on having a limerent partner. And for now, I want to thank you so much for being with me in this live stream. And I hope you take care of yourself, because this is really, really, really tough. And I hope to see you in other videos. Bye bye.